All right, so so welcome back to the stream. Tonight we're going to be looking inside of Reaktor, and we're going to be looking at designing a cinematic bass. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the stream. And today we're going to be building a cinematic bass pulse in Reaktor in just a few minutes, and this is perfect for film scores, trail music, or deep electronic tracks. So let's jump right into it. And we're going to start off with opening up Reaktor. And this is a sound design tool, synthesis tool, a sampler tool, and it allows you the freedom to create sounds from scratch or use Reaktor blocks to create them. The user interface might seem a little bit like older, but it's still the principles of sound design still apply to all of these instruments and everything that we're using. So when you open it up, you're going to have a play section, a patch section, and a build section. We're going to jump into the build section today, and we're going to once you go into that build section, we're going to open up the blocks bento box collection, and we're going to first need an oscillator in our session. We're going to set that to a sine wave for a clean, deep bass sound. And if we want something grittier, we're going to add or swap it out for a saw or a square wave. These are pure waves, so we're hearing raw sound generation from these devices. So you really have control and full control over developing and combining oscillators, filters, amps to create the sound that you want to create. So we're going to next bring in a VCA, which is a voltage controlled amplifier, and that's going to be controlling our volume going out into our outputs and finally out to our speakers. So we're also going to combine to create some movement. We can add in a 8-step sequencer, and this will generate a rhythmic pulse for us. So when we want rhythm in our music, we think of adding an 8-step sequencer. Think of 8-step as adding rhythm. So we also need a clock. And the clock will keep time, essentially, in a tempoed grid. So this clock, if we add a clock, we're going to go to util section. This will keep our time, and while this will provide a stepped sequence rhythm for our track or our sound. So we added a clock divider in here, and this will sync our tempo nicely to the grid. After that, we've added our 8-step and our oscillator, and these are our basic components. We're going to add one more thing, and that's going to be a filter, because we want to filter out the highs and the lows of our sound frequency-wise over the course of our sound. So we added in a filter here, and finally we do need one more component, and that would be a util note in, and that's that. So we're going to connect it up. Everything is going to flow through the 8-step sequencer from our note into our 8-step sequencer. And then we have our LFR filter and our amp and our outputs. So right now we should be able to generate some sound. Let's just organize our panel at the top so everything's neat and tidy so that it can look the way that we organized it. So that looks pretty good to me. We're just going to turn on our internal clock so it runs through the rhythm. And we can change the notes as we see to what we want. I'm going to turn up the volume. So there's no notes right now. You're hearing C. So that's why it's just stuck on one note. But if I change the notes and activate the step, you'll hear some sound. So this is going according to the clock. which is setting the tempo, while the 8-step sequencer is setting our rhythm. So we're gonna add one more thing. I'm gonna pitch it. And then once we pitch it down, filter out some highs. And for some movement, since this could be a little bit static sounding, we can add in an LFO to our pitch input and get some movement to our sound. So we'll bring an LFO to our pitch, or wait, let's add that to a pitch of our filter. And then we can add in some gate control to the step sequencer with an ADSR envelope. And that can be connected to our amp. We'll call that the amp ADSR. And now we have a tone. We can add some modulation to our filter. Oh, this should actually go. There we go. So we're getting more of a pulse now. Can add some envelope. Maybe increase our decay or release so it's more legato. Add some legato in, add some glide. Add in some modulation to our filter. And there we have it, a nice sounding bass. So now we can then add in maybe some effects. So we'll go over to our rounds collection and we will add some reverb. We can affect the size, maybe add some modulation to our size. Or we can just, rather than that, I'd rather add an envelope. to add that envelope actually to our oscillator. Let's go back. We're going to call this ADSR, just so I can differentiate them. You can experiment with these sounds, these effects, and your envelopes. And there we have it. We have a bass sound that we can use. I can even turn off the step sequencer. Let's just see. And we should be able to reconnect it there. Okay, and there we have it, our finished sound. So that's how you build a cinematic pulse bass in Reaktor in just a few minutes. And if you found this helpful, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a follow, and for more Reaktor and sound design tips. And let me know what sounds you'd like me to make next. And I'll see you in the next stream. Peace out.